Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
Boy, did the Reds get well on the West Coast. Brandon Phillips in San Francisco. How about the defense from Johnny Gomes? How about the bat of Joey Votto in Los Angeles? Add it all up, a 5-2 road trip as the Reds come home to Great American Ballpark to guess what? Jose Bautista and the Toronto Blue Jays. Heavy-hitting Jays come to town. It's interleague baseball next on Fox Sports Ohio. Live from Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, it's interleague baseball time as Fox Sports Ohio presents Cincinnati Reds baseball. The 15th year of interleague baseball as the Jays come to town to take on the Cincinnati Reds. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everyone. Along with the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, I'm George Grant. Welcome to Reds baseball. And Cowboy, you're a pitcher, and you like what the Reds have been doing in the last 10 games.
It's pretty amazing, George. You look at what has been going on with the Reds record-wise, and this will tell you why they've been climbing the way that they have. You look at the numbers that the Reds have been able to put up, and that's phenomenal. And it's not just because of the physical part of the game, but it's also because of the mental part of the game. Some of the couple of pitchers, including Mike Leake, sit down to the AAA for a couple of starts, get your act back together, and boy, has he gotten it back together. Not only has he gotten it as far as the strike zone, but it seems to me, George, that his stuff has gotten better. Not only the control of the strike zone, but those breaking balls that you see right there, I don't think anybody hits that.
Mike Leake has been on a roll. So is some of the Reds' offense. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the offensive side of the Reds' rebirth. Two big hitters in town, Jose Bautista and Joey Votto. Coming up next on Fox Sports Ohio.
reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Welcome back to Great American Ballpark. Sam the Eagle making a return just as the Reds have from the West Coast. Boy, Cowboy, is this guy picturesque or what? Take a look at the beauty and the dominance of Sam the Eagle. Pretty special, huh?
Must be nice to fly like that.
Like an eagle?
Like an eagle.
Good song title. It's the Blue Jays against the Reds. Time for a check of the weather on a beautiful night for baseball. The lovely and talented Michelle Boudelet.
It'll be a warm and muggy evening at the ballpark. By first pitch, we're looking at 86 degrees and dry skies, but by the end of the game, the chance for a shower or thunderstorm, so Mother Nature having a few of her own fireworks this evening as well.
Thanks, Michelle. Speaking of fireworks, how about these two guys, Cowboy? Joey Votto, Jose Bautista. They were the Henry Aaron Award winners of last year, symbolic of the best offensive player in each league. Joey in the National League, Bautista in the American League. Big-time power.
Who would have ever known to start the season that both of these guys would come out with numbers like that? Slugging percentage. Amazing watching both of these guys, the way they go about their business. And when you watch these guys hit, George, both of them are so far inside of the ball, really challenging that top hand to get to the baseball.
Jose Bautista, 54 homers last year. Already he's got 21 this year. What great core strength in the middle of that body.
It's amazing. Just a little bit of leg kick and getting on that back leg and getting that hip turn.
Those are two hitters. A pitcher and a hitter are going against each other in the dugout. Dusty Baker, the former hitter. John Farrell, the former pitcher. Next, interleague baseball. Farm agents are there when you need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. By your local Ford dealer. Ford Drive 1. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline Chili. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, hey, it's Skyline time. It's baseball time, interleague baseball time at that. This 15th year of interleague competition between the American League and the National League. The Toronto Blue Jays lead the Reds in the 9 games they have played. In the 3 series they've matched up 6-3. The Blue Jays have the edge in games. Let's take a look at the Blue Jays batting order for Johnny Farrell. Yunel Escobar will lead it off. Corey Patterson, the former Red, who's had a good first half, hits in the number 2 spot. Good defensive center fielder. And we told you about Jose Bautista, big time power, good defensively as well. Adam Lind is your first baseman. Juan Rivera, the left fielder. JP Arancibia is your catcher. Aaron Hill back off the DL, back at second base. Jason Nix, Lance Nix' younger brother, is your third baseman. And JoJo Reyes, the left-hander, on the mound. That's your Blue Jays batting order. Here's Mike Leake, Cowboy.
Leake has been about as good as you can get over the last 4 starts. 3-0 with a 1.93 earned run average. The last 2 ball games, he's been an 8-inning pitcher.
Here's Escobar, 287, 8 homers, 26 knocked in. A guy who usually hit down in the order when he was in Atlanta after traded over to Toronto last year. He's moved into the leadoff spot, and among all leadoff hitters in the American League, he's second in homers with those 7. He's second in walks and in slugging percentage. They'd like to get his on-base percentage up a bit, but this young man is supremely talented, Cowboy. The question is, can you harness all that talent and make him a solid everyday player?
Well, that's the question mark that was always around him when he was in Atlanta. I think he can swing the bat with any shortstop. The object is to catch the baseball on an everyday basis at that position.
Off the end of the bat, Phillips is there to back up Leake. He'll take care of it, and there's one away. I'll check you for defensive alignment. There's the Gold Glover Brandon Phillips. You know where he is at second. In the outfield, Johnny Gomes. How about the 2 catches he made in Los Angeles? Drew Stubbs, Gold Glove caliber in center, and Jay Bruce, Gold Glove caliber in right. Roland, 8-time Gold Glover at third. Janisch and Phillips, the double play combo, and Votto over at first. Ryan Hannigan, who's thrown out 23% of those who have tried to steal. Catching Mike Leake. That's your forward defensive alignment. One away, and here's Corey Patterson, the left-handed swinger. Comes in against right-handers this year, 268. Against lefties, 301. You add that up, and he's got a pretty solid 279 first half. The former Cincinnati Red thought he would be a 4th or 5th outfielder, but with all the injuries, he's been playing every day. And you see his numbers, 5 homers, 29 knocked in, not bad.
You can't help but be happy for this guy to be able to play every day and to put up some numbers, especially the difficulty that he faced when he was in a Reds uniform.
Patterson will always give you solid defense. That's a fastball missing on the inside corner. Jerry Meals is your home plate umpire. Dale Scott, the crew chief, down at first. Dan Iasonia at second. And C.B. Buckner is your third base umpire in tonight's umpiring crew. Ball and a strike to the speedy Patterson. Want to keep him off the bases. He's stolen 10 this year. This is a team under Johnny Farrell that's different than the power-laden Blue Jays of the past. They lost about 80 homers off last year's roster. Yes, John Farrell still has Batista, but they lost some other guys, including Scott Rowland, who was in their lineup last year. But Johnny Farrell's got him running more. He'll hit and run. He won't be adverse to sacrificing early in a ball game. Rowland going over, he'll run out of room. Rather, that's Cairo down in the dugout looking over at Rowland as Rowland comes over and waves at that. Miguel Cairo, who is a guy who has helped this Reds club time and time again. Before the game saying, I've learned so much. I thought when I came over here that I could help this club in many different ways. I thought I was a pretty good third baseman, but watching an 8-time Gold Glover like Scott Rowland, I've gotten better. And it's amazing. Rowland is that good. Swing and a miss. Held on to by Hannigan. He taps him for the out. So a pretty good first. Escobar, Patterson. Now can he get Batista, the big guy?
Well, this is the pitch that we were talking about earlier, and it's really helped Leake a lot. And that's the breaking ball away from arm side. The slider that really was evading Mike Leake early in the season. But a trip down to AAA just for a couple of starts, and he has come back on fire.
Rick Sweet, Teddy Power, Smokey Garrett. What the heck did they do to him down there? He's a different pitcher coming back.
Well, sometimes, George, it's not all about learning a new pitch. It's just you get sent down and things change. It's a new perspective on life, both for he and tomorrow's starter, Edinson Volquez. Sometimes you spend a day or two away from the big leagues, you remember what you miss.
Well, this guy spent a lot of time sitting on the bench in his early years. We saw him in one series when he was a Pittsburgh Pirate player play third, second, and then the outfield. They didn't have a place in the batting order for him. They didn't have a place in the field. And he just kept saying, I need to play. Well, Cito Gaston, Gene Tennis, and then Dwayne Murphy gave him a chance to play, and he has blossomed into one of the foremost offensive players in the game.
Well, he's the one guy, he and Adam Lynn hitting behind him. You got to keep these guys from beating you in this ball game.
So far, so good. 1, 2, 3. 2 strikeouts in the first. Leake takes a breather. Stubbs to the bat rack when we return. Second birthday with a victory. That lends us to our Farmers Insurance report card. 5-2 record on the road trip. Great earned run average. 6 quality starts. Perfect in saves. And they also hit pretty well, scoring about 5 runs a game. That's a prescription for a good trip.
And you look at those numbers and you think 2 losses might have been 7 wins on the road.
It could have been a clean sweep. Here's Dusty's batting order. Drew Stubbs in the leadoff spot. Brandon Phillips bats number 2. Joey Votto hits in the number 3 hole, followed by Jay Bruce. Scott Rowland behind him. Johnny Gomes, Ryan Hannigan, Paul Janisch, and Mike Leake. That's 1 through 9. Your Dusty Baker starting the lineup. And here's the lefty, Jojo Reyes.
Jojo Reyes, the former Atlanta Brave. 23 starts. This will be his 24th tonight versus National League opponents without a win. Without a win. Of course, he's in the American League now, so that would have a little bit to do with it. His last win came against the Reds, believe it or not.
The lefty dealing to Stubbs, who's in at 269. Big swing by Drew, and it's fouled back. Drew, pretty good month of June at 315 and a couple of homers. Cowboy, let me ask you. I mean, I'm not around the club every day, but people keep making a big deal over his number of strikeouts. And yes, he has struck out a lot. But this is a young man that I marvel at in the way he's grown up game by game, week by week. And yeah, he's going to strike out a little bit at this time. But the whole package, when you take it and look at it, I'll take it any day of the week.
I will too, George. And I really believe that as time goes on, as long as he's not constantly worrying about swinging and missing the baseball, that he's going to round out into a fine hitter.
There is a strikeout out number 1. And here's your 4 defensive alignment for the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays come in 9th in the American League defensively with a total of 44 errors on the season. In the outfield, Patterson anchors in center. Batista's solid with a good arm and right. Jason Nix at third. Escobar and Hill the double play combo. Adam Lynn's over at first. And the work in progress, JP Arancibia is your catcher, catching Jojo Reyes. Here's Brandon Phillips at 281, 5 homers, 36 knocked in. This hit pretty good. Going back, Patterson looking up at the wall. He can't get it. Around first, going to second will be Phillips. He'll cruise into second with a 2-base hit, and the Reds have a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Now, before the game today, Joe Morgan, the Reds Hall of Famer, was anchored next to Brandon Phillips in the clubhouse, giving him a little bit of a pep talk about just take what they give you. They pitch you away, go away. And boy, does he take advantage of this.
Tries to get a cutter on the outside part of the plate, and that ball ends up over the middle of the plate. And Phillips hammers it. That has been the Achilles heel of JoJo Reyes his whole career, facing right-handed batters and having difficulty keeping them away from the extra base hit.
So Brandon's in scoring position, and here comes Joey. Speaking of against left-handed batting, Joey is .368 this year. And he steps up with Phillips at second. Votto in at .331 overall. 9 homers, 43 knocked in. Not many of the Reds have faced Reyes. Votto's 0 for 2 in his career. Phillips with that base hit is now 5 for 9 against Reyes. And Rolen is 1 for 8 coming into today. Those are the only 3 Reds that have faced Reyes in the past. Great speed at second. Escobar right behind Phillips defensively, next to the second base bag. That misses on the inside corner. You're an MVP, you're expected to be consistent, but he's been on base safely by a hit or a walk or hit by a pitch in all but 2 of the 69 games. 67 to 69. That's consistency.
This is the point where Votto excels the best. Runners in scoring position.
426 on the year. He won't get a hit here, but he'll move the runner to third with 2 away. And that'll bring up Jay Bruce. Speaking of another guy who's been consistent, over 300 with runners in scoring position as well.
Fun to watch a kid like this with this kind of talent grow up. We saw Joey Votto do it last year, and seems like Bruce is on that same kind of page.
Now, there are a lot of reasons for what happened to the Reds last year as it unfolded. The growth of the young players, the presence of a Scott Rolen, Reyes to the stretch, Bruce at the plate. And I think what you're seeing this year, Cowboy, is maybe stage 2. Stage 1 was bringing Scott Rolen in and teaching some of these young players how to be major leaguers. Now some of these young players are coming into their own.
Well, they're starting to take some accountability for winning and losing ball games individually. And you could really see it on that last road trip. I really thought that this club handled the difficult trip through Philly and the 2-8 road trip finishing in Atlanta, and really have turned things around.
Reyes to Bruce in the dirt. Phillips holds at third.
It's fun to come to the ballpark every day, George, when you have an expectation of winning. And I think that this Reds ball club has that expectation now, and I think they expect it of each other. And that's a pretty good thing going into the kind of schedule that the Reds have until August 1st.
Swing and a miss. This time Reyes will get the best of the Reds. They'll strand a runner at third. Going to the second. Back to the mound is Lee. the Reds stage 2 of interleague play. The next 5 series, Toronto, the Yankees, the Orioles, the Rays, and the Indians, add up all these teams. They are 15 games over 500. Added up, Cowboy, our Elk and Elk storylines brought to you by Elk and Elk, serious lawyers for serious injuries, 1-800-ELK Ohio. That's a pretty tough road to hoe.
Well, the Reds only face one team currently until August 1st that are under 500. That would be the Baltimore Orioles. So they've got a little schedule ahead of them.
Blue Jays have their own work cut out for them as well. In addition to playing the Reds, they'll play at the end of this road trip Atlanta, St. Louis, and the Philadelphia Phillies. They'll also play Houston and Pittsburgh. But hey, the Pirates are no slouch. They've been playing outstanding baseball, over 500 for the first time since 1999.
People talk about, well, at least they get to play Pittsburgh. Well, I don't know if I would be talking that way about it right now.
Here's the left-handed swinging Adam Lynn. Since coming off the disabled list the beginning of this month, he's hitting over 400, including a big walk-off homer. This has been a walk-off year. Already this year, we've had 26 walk-off homers. He's had one of them. And, of course, it all started with Ramon Hernandez opening day right here. What a jolt that was. How about these numbers? Popped high in the air to right center. Bruce is there. He'll squeeze it.
Well, Lynn's success early in his career came from driving the ball into that left center field gap. And now he's really rounded out to a bona fide 4-hole slugger.
They've got some home runs to make up with who they lost from last year, but I think the one thing John Farrell was saying before the game, we don't expect to hit as many homers. And you and I were talking about it before the game. I was amazed to realize it when you looked at the numbers over the last 2+ years. The Blue Jays had more home runs, over 330, than the Yankees or the Red Sox in the American League. That's amazing. So John Farrell, yes, he's got Batista, but beyond that, not a lot. He's had to come up with different ways to score runs.
Have to be a little more creative.
Farrell, New Jersey native, lives in Westlake, Ohio now, up near Cleveland. Went to Oklahoma State. Bouncer over to Votto. Joey's got it. Leak will haul it in, and there's 2 away. They kicked off your weekend at Great American Ballpark on Friday, July the 1st, when the Reds take on the Indians. Stick around for a post-game Reds White and Blue fireworks show featuring Hall of Fame rock legends. Soundtrack courtesy PNC. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit reds.com today. You were down in Atlantis with the family. Did they have fireworks down there for you?
Yes, they do.
They're big time, aren't they?
They have them on Friday nights as well.
As good as ours here on Friday night? No.
There are no fireworks that I've seen on a regular basis that beat the fireworks here at Great American Ballpark. And I say that in all honesty.
Yeah.
Bahamas or no Bahamas.
You've gone to Disney World. You've gone to Atlantis. It's pretty good vacations for the kids, huh?
Spoiling them. Might have to make them take summer school now.
I'm proud of you. You got a good tan. You didn't get burned.
Yeah.
Ashley had you with the suntan lotion on.
Oh, yeah. She's all about that sunscreen.
Smart. You had fun, though, huh?
Oh, yeah. Parts of my body saw sun that I hadn't seen in a long time. Like my chest.
Jesse, was he wearing those Speedos down there? Here's the catcher, JP Arancibia. That's a fastball missing inside.
Leave the Speedo for Marty.
Did he show you his?
Yeah, that's what he wears.
Slow roller down to short. Quick feet, quick arm. Got him. 1, 2, 3 in the second. Bottom of 2 we go. Rolling. Scott Stewart. TORAT.com, our Hall of Fame baseball writer Hal McCoy shares a story about the legendary Buck O'Neil. FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. And fans, check out our new show, Boys in the Hall, featuring Buck O'Neil, this Sunday after the Reds game, only on Fox Sports Ohio. Hall of Fame weekend, the last weekend in July, will certainly have a great representation by many fans and organization members from the Toronto Blue Jays. Pat Gillett, the former Blue Jays general manager and president. And of course, Roberto Alomar, 2 Blue Jays who'll be inducted. Bert Blyleven, great to see Bert get in finally. And of course, speaking of Buck O'Neil, Roland Heeman will get the Buck O'Neil Award. And I think you'd echo it, Cowboy. I've never met anybody in the game of baseball that is more impressive than Roland Heeman.
You are on the head of the nail.
Roland pops out to right field, hauled in by Jose Bautista. You know, you talk a lot about Bautista's offense. He is very much underrated as a defensive player. He's solid defensively. He can throw well. He runs fairly well. He had 12 assists last year.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier when he was with the Pirates. They came up as a third baseman, played him third, played him first, played him in the outfield. Bottom line is he has changed that swing, and it has changed his life and the life of the Toronto Blue Jays.
Here's Johnny talking about changing your life. Boy, he looked like a different guy after taking a few days off. Dusty Baker, Brooke Jacoby had a huddle with him to get the check up from the neck up, not just the mechanics of hitting, but the mental approach to hitting. And he's come alive during the month of June. He's back over 300 at 318, and that's got the average back over the Mendoza line. He's up to 209 with 8 homers and 2 brilliant defensive plays on this road trip.
Seeing him dive and catch that ball against the Dodgers and continuing to see the replay of it, his body seemed like it was in air for seconds.
You missed it. Here's a special effort from Johnny Gomes down the left field line. And you know you're going to get the track. You know you're going to get punished, don't you?
Well, not only did he make a great play on that ball, but it was slicing away from him, and it ended up being a game-saving catch.
Johnny gets a 1-out base hit, and here comes Ryan Hannigan. That gives us the time for our Honda National League Central standings update. The Reds start tonight 2 games behind Milwaukee in the race for first in the Central Division. The Cardinals 6 straight losses are a game back. The Pirates 2 games over 500 for the first time since 1999 under Clint Hurdle are 3 games back. Cubs won today. They beat the Yankees at Wrigley Field. And the Astros in the cellar of the Central. Short lead for Gomes, who's stolen 5 and caught 2 times with Hannigan at the plate.
Big issue, I think, George. We talk about the schedule all the time for the Reds, and we were talking about it earlier. But making it to August 1st with some semblance of competition in this Central really, I think, puts the Reds in the driver's seat. Because after August 1st, their schedule is much more friendly than what it is until August 1st. When you're playing, every single club you play is above 500. You got to come to the ballpark every day with that expectation to win, or you're going to have some rough times.
This 33-game stretch that they're just concluding was brutal, and I would agree with you. I think especially after that, the 2 lengthy games that emptied Dusty's bullpen in Philadelphia, to see the resolve of this club. Some clubs might have collapsed, and a Reds team 3 or 4 years ago would have collapsed, but this team didn't.
And that, I think, a lot of times that's where you grow up as a player. When your back is against the wall, you got to either get it done or you're going to get sent out. And I think that when Walt made the move to send out Mike Lake and to send out Edinson Volquez, it was almost like a gut check for that club down there in the dugout. I mean, everybody starts to look in the mirror when people start getting sent out. And I think it changed the whole mantra of this ball club. They know they can win. They won it last year.
Does it make a difference that next year once you've proven to yourself that you can win?
No doubt about it. Then you want a little bit bigger bite of the apple. You want it. You look once you get to the playoffs. Now you're saying, well, we beat the Giants. We could play with those guys.
Nub toward short. And there's 2 away. And that'll bring up Giannis hitting in the 8th spot with Leak behind him.
That's where the mental part of this game is so important, to expect and to know that you're a good player and you're a good ball club and you have that cohesive group that I believe the Reds have. And they have all of the ingredients to be able to not only win this division, but to get into the playoffs with a little bit deeper than what they were last year, regardless of whether they play the Phillies or not.
If you were to start the playoffs tomorrow, the guy you just saw filing his nails would be your number 1, the way Johnny Cueto's pitched, huh?
Right.
Wow. Talk about the guy who's been on his game.
And he has come a long way. A lot of those guys down in that dugout have.
Towards the alley, going over, looking up Rivera, he'll haul it in. So the Reds get their second hit, strand their second runner. Aaron Hill leads it off, and we return.
Job, it's a little push. We needed. We weren't playing there well for a while, and we're back on a roll here. But we got some tough games ahead of us. Keep our nose to the grindstone here. Got some home games, which is always nice, and see what we can do.
Lunch pail kind of guy, Ryan Hannigan, describing how the Reds have gotten things back on track again as the Reds start tonight 2 games back of Milwaukee in the Central Division. Here's Aaron Hill. Jason Nix will follow, and Jojo Reyes. 6 up, 6 down so far for Mike Leake. Hill at 249. He also had a stint on the disabled list. Back again. He almost looked like he was trying to lean in to get clipped by that one. It misses.
Well, you see that more and more, and you have to be aware as a pitcher. If you throw a breaking ball inside to a hitter, just might lean out there and let it touch something.
Nothing wrong with that. But then the next time you make sure that as a pitcher, right, you didn't have to lean in.
Yeah, you're going to lean in twice.
Dale Scott saying, he didn't go around.
There are 3 birds. There are 3 birds on the left side of the infield that Scott Rowland can't get to leave, nor can Paul Janich, and they have traded barbs back and forth trying to move those birds around.
The Leak scoops, fires, got him. What a play by Mike Leak. Off balance, the athleticism of number 44 really showed right here.
He goes after the baseball with the perfect form because he didn't over-accelerate getting to the ball. He barehanded the baseball, picked it straight up out of the ground, and he didn't try to stop and throw. He carried that momentum on towards the line and threw the ball like a third baseman would as he comes in to field a slow roller.
You made your living in the major leagues as a closer, starter, reliever, setup guy, but you were a shortstop when you came up, so you could appreciate the same kind of athleticism that he brings. How about this? Backhand. Got him. Two fine plays defensively by the Reds. He may not be hitting at them a lot, but that kind of leather helps.
That's the one thing that you can count on for the Reds day in and day out. They are going to play defense, and you love this play right here. The slide, the spike with the right foot, and then the bullet throw onto first base.
That ball is never more than about 5 feet off the ground.
And you have to have a pretty good arm to make that happen.
Here's JoJo Reyes. I asked John Farrell before the game what his advice to his pitchers would be in interleague play. He said, get your bunts down and don't get hurt. That's about it.
Well, Reyes has done this before.
Yeah.
At least for some time with the Atlanta Braves.
In fact, his first hit was as a pinch hitter against us.
I do remember that.
High hopper. Got it. When he's going, he's got his ground ball working. Leak does it again. He leads it off, and we return. A house contest, you could win a Fox Sports Ohio prize pack, and one grand prize winner will win a pizza party. The Papa's in Your House contest is presented by Papa John's and endorsed by the Big Papa, Jesse Jackson. Two hits for the Reds, nothing to show for it. A double by Phillips with one out in the first, and a one-out single by Johnny Gomes. Here we go to the third, and Mike Leake will lead it off.
Well, you talk about athletic. Mike Leake led all National League pitchers last year in batting average. There's not a whole lot this kid can do. Fields his position. You saw that very well right out of the gate. And not only that, he can flat swing the bat. And if you're an American League pitcher facing him, you better treat him just like a regular hitter.
And the scouting report is out, because down at third, Jason Nix is a step in front of the bag, guarding against a possible bunt. Leake on the top of the order, Drew Stubbs and Brandon Phillips. Papa John's, better ingredients, better pizza. Order online at papajohns.com today. Not many pitchers you see wearing number 44, do you?
Nope.
That's like a hitter's number.
I wore it for a while in St. Louis, only because they had some guy who had 45.
Yeah.
Nothing I could do about it. Some guy named Gibson, Bob something.
Bullet Bob something or other, right? Name was on the wall. Popped up, going back Aaron Seavey. He'll run out of room. Who'd you wear at Mississippi State?
8.
Trying to remember. It was a single, yeah. A single number.
For Joe Morgan.
Joe's in the house tonight. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Got him with a fastball, and there's 1 away. That's strikeout number 3 for Reyes. This time of year brings back memories for you, Cowboy, when you went to the College World Series in Omaha, Nebraska. What a great club you had. Will Clark, Biggie,
Bobby Thigpen, Rafael Palmeiro, Will Clark.
You almost went again this year.
Yeah, well, they're getting there.
Those who have survived. Vanderbilt plays North Carolina tomorrow. Texas against Florida. California against Virginia. And Texas A&M against South Carolina.
South Carolina won it last year.
They had
Ray Tanner.
Solid coach, great program.
North Carolina has made a huge presence in the College World Series over the last, I guess, 7, 8, 9 years. It's amazing since the club where they had the kid Bart from the Red Sox and Andrew Miller, the big left-hander. They have really done some fine recruiting and just a great program.
Augie Garrido at Texas, where Drew Stubbs played, of course. And before that, Cliff Gustafson at Texas. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Longhorns eliminated Mike Leake's Arizona State club, winning the best 2 out of 3 Super Regional.
Sam McCura, Texas born.
2-2.
Giannis was at Rice when they were in the College World Series. Well, they won it all.
Ball, strike 3. Second time Stubbs has been punched out. That's strikeout number 4 for Reyes. And here comes Brandon Phillips, who doubled first time up. Visit your local Lowe's to cash your MLB All-Star ballot and enter to win a trip to the All-Star game. Compliments of Scott's home field advantage, exclusively at Lowe's. Of course, the leading American League vote getter is Jose Bautista, over 3 million ballots. And you still got time to vote for your favorite Reds. We grounded down to short. Escobar rifles it across, and it's an easy 1-2-3 for Reyes. Head to the 4th in Cincinnati. Escobar due up. businesses, restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group. Buy your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For a dealer near you, visit buyatoyota.com. Buy Geico 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And buy Blue Rhino. Ready to grill? Grab a Rhino. Visit bluerhino.com for a propane tank near you. What a picture-perfect night by the river here in Cincinnati. Here's Escobar. Yunel bounced to second first time up.
Second time through the lineup for Mike Leake. Let's hope that Leake has learned a little bit more about the swings of the Blue Jays than they have learned about the pitches of one Mike Leake.
Got him. One away.
Well, that ball took an awfully funny bounce off the last part of the grass to Paul Janisch. It almost looked as though that ball was going to die, and he was expecting the ball to pop up, and the ball stayed down on him and did a nice job to go back down and get the baseball.
And Escobar runs fairly well, so with a two-hopper, he's got a charge. And there's that last tricky hop.
Off the grass and then off the dirt. A little bit different bounce.
One away, and here's Patterson, who struck out first time up. What are your thoughts about you were off this past week when all the discussion came up again, and heck, this really started when you were playing. There was talk it was a bouncer. Votto's got it. Leaping effort by Joey.
Look at that. The MVP can sky.
How about this for an effort by the first baseman?
You almost have to time this perfectly, George. If you jump too soon, the ball's going to go over your head. And if you don't time it right, it's going to tip off the end of your glove.
Michael Jordan time.
Yeah, you just squat, you wait for the ball to reach its highest point, and go get it.
Joey was an outstanding high school basketball player just outside of Toronto, where he grew up. In fact, I hope you're with us tomorrow. We're going to sit down with Joey, who of course grew up in Toronto, blossomed as a baseball player there, and Jose Bautista, who came into his own in Toronto. The two award winners. Double dribbled by the shortstop Janisch, and it'll go as a base hit. Janisch had a do-or-die effort. Knew he had one chance to get it. He'll say he should have had it, but here's another look.
Big time topspin on this baseball, and Janisch kind of put himself in a do-or-die situation where he got to the baseball. He was trying to get the big hop, and that's what you're taught as an infielder, get the big hop. But he just couldn't quite get there in time, and he had to, as you said, do or die with that glove flash, and it just didn't quite stick.
Hope you can't read lips. Well, Batista's on. 2 out, 1 on. First hit for the Blue Jays. But we're going to sit down with Jose and Joey tomorrow. Just talk about their view of the game of baseball. Not nuts and bolts baseball, just where they've come from, what they think about the game, how they care about the game. Two guys who are somewhat different in their approaches, but very similar in so many other ways. They have a great deal of respect for each other, Cowboy. It's great to see the two of them talk hitting. It's great to see the two of them respond to the success that each has had.
It's amazing to see the two of the best hitters in the game of baseball, and neither grew up here in the United States. That shows you the great expansion of our game of baseball throughout the world.
Tries to check it, and he does. 1 ball, 1 strike to Adam Lynn, who flied to right first time up. He steps out, checks down at third base to Brian Butterfield, the third base coach. Time for our AT&T trivia question for tonight. Who's the only Blue Jay to win 2 Cy Young Awards? The only Blue Jay to win 2 Cy Young Awards. Our AT&T trivia question. Blue Jays, through their history, have been known more for offensive stars than pitching stars, but they've had some outstanding pitching performers, the likes of Dave Steve. Boy, he was something.
Roger Clemens was there for a while. Pat Hinken.
Pat Hinken, who's now the bullpen coach. Jimmy Key.
Oh, Jimmy was tough. Tough.
And some great relievers, too. Tom Henke. 1 ball, 2 strikes. There goes the runner. Got a shot at him, and they got him. Batista will argue that Hannigan gets the gun. Base hit, nothing to show for it as Hannigan guns down Batista. And we return. Votto to the plate. Of Milford, Ohio, currently drives a 4-runner, will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. I don't know about a fungo, but you could probably hit that with a 3-wood.
Maybe.
There's Joey. Votto bounced out first time up.
Second time around for the Reds to see JoJo Reyes. And boy, they really play Votto to pull the baseball. For a guy that has the back control of Votto, I don't know about that. And they've got the third baseman. Actually, it's Yunel Escobar is playing shortstop.
Yeah,
they moved Jason Nix all the way around to second, and they put Aaron Hill in the rover position in right field.
Jason, of course, has played some second, but John Farrell's philosophy is he wants his best defensive infielder on the left side, so he leaves his shortstop there, whether it's John McDonald or.
I mean, this area of the field here is just, I mean, we're talking about some major room down that left field line, and down just, I mean, if he takes a check swing, the ball is going to be a double. He'll beat Escobar to the ball.
Breaking ball on the corner. Joey thought it was a ball. And it's a full count, 3-2.
He is really cutting that fastball, JoJo Reyes, and you can see where the catcher is setting up. The ball is off the plate, but he's hitting the middle of Aaron Sevia's glove, and the umpire sees that as a strike. That's the old Atlanta Brave trick. Glavin, Madden, Smoltz.
Yep.
Set up where your chin is on the corner of the plate, and you hit the outside part of the glove. You don't move the glove away. You keep the glove right there, and you'll get more strikes than not.
Sometimes Eddie Perez, I think, was set up in Stone Mountain.
Yeah, he'd get in the other batter's box.
Setting up away again. There's a dribbler to the right side. And they'll get Votto. So that'll actually go as a 5-3 putout as the third baseman. Nix makes the play. Pumping strikes, and if there's one thing that has been a bugaboo for JoJo Reyes, it's walking people, but so far tonight he's getting ahead.
You're right, George. And coming into the ball game, that was the big concern about Reyes. You give up free passes in this ballpark to this Reds club, they'll kill you.
Coming in 25 walks and 47 strikeouts issued by Reyes.
What's amazing to me, George, is you see the way that the infield is playing now against Jay Bruce. And National League teams play Jay Bruce the way that the Blue Jays were playing Votto. Different philosophy.
Aaron Hill has it, and there's 2 away. Our AT&T trivia question: the only Blue Jay to win 2 Cy Young awards. Pat Roger Clemens, 97 and 98. Pat Henkin won 1. I remember that 20-win season he had, and he's now the bullpen coach. But the Rocket, Roger Clemens with an E. Talk about bouncing back after they thought his career was over. And now the question will be, will he be a Hall of Famer?
That was a chip on the shoulder after he left the Red Sox. I'll show you.
Boy, when you came up, there was a great legacy of relief pitchers in Toronto, and I know David Weathers always talked about what he learned from Tom Henke, and I spent a lot of time with Tom. There's a liner. It is a foul ball. Henke was a big bulldog of a guy who never said boo, but boy, you put a game in his hands, it usually was taken care of, wasn't it?
He really did, George. It was, I mean, even from the other league, playing as a national leaguer basically my whole career, you knew that Tom Henke was nails, and he threw strikes and he came right at you.
Fastball up and into rolling. He flied to right first time up. Yes, if you think of the Blue Jays, you think of outfielders. George Bell, Barfield, Mosby during that stretch where they went to the postseason in the mid-'80s. High in the air down the left field line and out of play. And then, of course, the Joe Carter, Devon White, early 90s.
Well, you know, the thing to me that I remember is not only Joe Carter and Roberto Alomar, but I just remember Devon White and the way that he caught the baseball in such nonchalant fashion to make every play look like he just had it made.
Similar to Tony Fernandez, who was a shortstop at that time too, and magic at short. At one point, he had the highest defensive percentage of any shortstop.
But that club that Cito had, not only were they phenomenal players, but it just seemed like they stayed on the field. They were playing on artificial turf, but they stayed on the field. They stayed healthy.
In that early 90s team, you look at the 3 top defensive teams of all time and 3 of the best defensive teams of the last generation, and they all had John Olerud at first. That's not by mistake. I mean, you talk about a wingspan. He made a lot of what could have been errors, 6-3 and 5-3.
Saved a lot of throws.
All right. That's, you don't bring your glove, take your hat. That's good enough.
Rolen putting a pretty good at bat on JoJo Reyes here. Reyes is cutting his fastball into the righties and changeups away, and it is really wearing out the Reds batters. This is the 9th pitch here to Scott Rolen in this at bat. Finally to a 3-2 count. That's a whole lot of foul balls.
Into the 4th, only 57 pitches. There's a bouncer down to 3rd. Nix has it. That'll do it. So the Reds go quietly with 3 ground balls. Reyes takes a breather. Adam Lind to the plate. Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live, everything a Reds fan needs to get ready for the game. Reds Live presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing. Hope you had a chance to watch Jeff DeCoro, Jim Day before tonight's game. They'll be back to keep you up to date after this one's over. Night game tomorrow night, day game on Sunday as the Blue Jays are in town. Then the Yankees come to town. Mike Leake back to work as we go to the bottom of top of inning number 5, as Adam Lynn will lead it off. Rivera and Arancibia will follow. Pitching kind of night so far. Lynn was at the plate when Batista was thrown out trying to steal.
Well, the reason that this is a pitching kind of night thus far is both pitchers are throwing strike one.
What's your philosophy in interleague play? Yes, I mean, we live in a video age where you've got all kinds of scouting reports. You can watch pitchers, but if you haven't seen a pitcher or you haven't seen a hitter, who has the advantage? The hitters or the pitcher?
Pitcher does. I mean, this is almost akin to being a rookie pitcher coming to the league for the first time facing a veteran ball club. They want to take strike one to see what you got. I mean, even a first pitch fastball hitter cannot judge exactly what the speed is going to be. And as long as you're not just throwing a meatball belt right down the heart of the plate, some semblance of location, and I would say Mike Leake has done that thus far.
There's the former Yankee outfielder Juan Rivera. Bounce back over second. Phillips will get there and make the play. Hey, Cowboy, those birds just won't leave, will they?
No, they won't.
Those pigeons.
And it's amazing that you sit here and watch those 3 birds have been there from the start of this game.
And this July, baseball's biggest stars will gather in the Arizona desert for one spectacular night of the summer's biggest event, as Fox brings you every thrilling moment of the 2011 All-Star Game. Coverage begins Tuesday, July 12th, live from Phoenix at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox.
And if you haven't voted for your Reds, then what's wrong with you?
There's the catcher, Arancibia. Outstanding offensive numbers. He is either first and second in most offensive categories among American League rookies. And behind the plate, a work in progress. I mean, the Blue Jays will allude to that, but he's getting better and better. Footwork, throwing, running the game.
Well, that's the toughest part, I think, for a young catcher, is to establish yourself as a decent game caller. And I think the way that you do that is the discussions that you have with your pitchers, young and old. As long as you can follow a pitcher when he's out there on the mound and you're comfortable with, and you know him, you know what he likes to do and what tendency he wants to get to with certain pitches and certain counts, then you're gonna earn the confidence of a pitcher quickly.
Phillips, can he get it there in time? Wow, he did it again. No, they're gonna, unbelievable. He gets up and he just looks up in the sky. Unbelievable with Brandon Phillips. He's a highlight reel every night after night.
of getting the ball on the shortstop side of the bag, but the awareness and the instinct of knowing exactly where he was as you catch the baseball. I mean, this is basically a blind throw, but you have to know where you are on the field of play. You have to have a good idea and a presence of where first base is as you let the ball loose.
Our Performance Honda Expo, as the bird swoops down, Brandon delivers off balance, right on the money to Joey Votto, and they get the catcher by a full step. It's a hot shot down to third off the bat of Johnny Gomes. One away here in the bottom of the fifth. Let's take one more look at another superb effort by the Gold Glover.
Folks, we're talking about some plays that Brandon Phillips, he makes them look easy. I know he does. But those are plays that are base hits on just about every other club in the big leagues, save maybe one.
Amazing. Amazing. And Cowboy, you saw Chris Spire in the dugout in between innings. I mean, Spire was a Gold Glove caliber infielder, and he was looking incredulously at Brandon too.
I think everybody does. I think for so long Brandon Phillips has been a misunderstood human being.
Sky to right. Batista there, 2 away. 2 quick outs here in the bottom of the fifth, and I want to remind you, don't forget to mark your calendars for July the 1st through the 3rd when your Cincinnati Reds take on the Cleveland Indians in a 3-game series presented by the Ohio Lottery. For tickets to see your Reds and Indians battle for the Ohio Cup, call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com today. Here's Paul Janisch. Janisch fly it out. So now the Reds here in the bottom of the fifth have a double from Phillips in the first, a single from Gomes in the second. Those are the only hits they had. And on the board, the lone hit credited to the Toronto Blue Jays was the Jose Batista infield ball that Paul Janisch bobbled, and it was called a hit. That's another ground out. Janisch goes quietly, so do the Reds. Going to the 6th, bottom of the order. Hill, Nix, and Reyes. They battle the New York Yankees June 20th, 21st, and 22nd, presented by Cincinnati Bell. Tickets still available to see your Reds take on the Yankees. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS or visit Reds.com. Well, I guess I lost my pizza bet. In spring training, I bet that I thought Derek Jeter was going to get his 3,000th hit here in Cincinnati.
Close.
Would have been apropos. It was here that he was named captain on an off day.
If he had not gone on the disabled list, we may have been talking about it.
Here's Aaron Hill. They'll lead it off. Nix and Reyes due to follow. No runs, a hit for Toronto. No runs, 2 hits for Cincinnati.
You watch Mike Leake throw now versus what we saw in spring training and the beginning of this year. Much higher with the elbow. The elbow is pretty much even with that shoulder.
Cruising into the corner. Jay Bruce hauls it in. Out number 1 of the 6th.
You get the elbow basically in that 90-degree mark away from the shoulder, and not only does it keep your hand in a good position to control the baseball, but it makes you feel comfortable. So every pitch that you let loose is coming out of the same arm slot. It's not changing arm slots, and now he has a better feel of every pitch, and the ball is going down. It's not going side to side. And when you can make the ball go down, not only with your fastball, but also with your breaking ball, you're going to get plenty of ground balls and a lot of swing and misses.
And what you're seeing now is he's pounding the strike zone, but down, whereas he was up before.
He has a greater amount of confidence now. I mean, as a pitcher, when you when you have good stuff and when you have control of the baseball. When you see those 2 pitches there, that's back-to-back breaking balls. One was in the dirt, broke too much. He comes back with the same pitch and he throws it for a strike. As a hitter, you're not going to swing at that second one after he threw one in the dirt. And if you're Mike Leake, you know that.
All on a strike. That's dribble foul down the third base line.
Leake is one of those youngsters that came out of college with a grand idea of the addition and subtraction of the speed of the baseball. And that's what's allowed him to come directly from college to the big leagues. Is not only does he feel good about the pitches that he throws and confident with those pitches, but being able to change speeds in the strike zone and down in the strike zone. And we're talking about a kid that at 23 years old is pitching like he's been in the big leagues 5 or 6 years.
Here's the 1-2 to Nix. In the air to right. It'll stay in the park. Back is Bruce. The last inning. Brandon Phillips took care of all 3. So far, Jay Bruce has taken care of all 2 in this inning. The 16 greatest moments in MLB All-Star Game history, going head-to-head to determine which is the most memorable of all time. Go to MLB.com/moments and vote now for your favorite Midsummer Classics. And tune in to the 2011 MLB All-Star Game Tuesday, July 12th at 8 o'clock Eastern here on Fox to find out who won. Here's Reyes, bouncer down to first. That's a fair ball. Leake will. Oh, it said, hold on. It said it went off his foot.
Reyes never moved out of the box.
No. The first base umpire, Dale Scott, called it a fair ball. The home plate umpire, Jerry Meals, called him back.
Must not have hit his foot a whole lot.
Yeah.
Might have been a pretty good acting job here. Let's check it out. Got a little bit of toe. A little bit. Maybe the pinky.
That's strike 2, 1 and 2. Kansas City leading the Cardinals 1-0. Cardinals in the middle of a 6-game losing streak. Milwaukee with a 1-game lead over St. Louis, 2 over the Reds in the Central going into tonight's play. 2-2. Well, there's your first legitimate hit of the night. That's a base hit by Reyes. We told you, no stranger to the batter's box. He pinch hit for Bobby Cox a few times in Atlanta, and there's your first legitimate hit after the questionable infield hit of the 4th inning.
And realistically, for Mike Leake, he's going right after Reyes here. You don't want to play around with a pitcher from the American League that's a career 139 hitter, even though he swings the bat decent. That's exactly what you want to do.
But 2 out, 1 on, and here's Escobar, the leadoff hitter.
It's amazing to me, George, that we're standing in the 6th inning here. Mike Leake is only throwing the 65th pitch. That is command and control of the strike zone, folks.
Both pitchers have been economical. Well, your buddies have now moved to the first base side of the infield, Cowboy. The 3 pigeons are looking for something better to nibble on.
I think they're going to the mound now.
Mike Leake's
they're making their first, second, and third visit. And now they're going to get in front of home plate, and Jerry Mills is not going to let that happen.
Throw him out, Jerry. Throw him out.
As we have seen more than enough times.
I'm not sure. I'm just guessing, but the team was away. I wouldn't be surprised if, very possibly Doug Gallen may have overseeded, and they're looking for some seed.
Larry, Curly, and Mo.
I remember the old story that Luke Appling told when he was a White Sox shortstop. They always complained that they never did anything to the infield. Back then they used to go on a 3-week road trip. He planted corn at shortstop, and he bet his teammates that when he came back it would grow. I got off the train at 4 o'clock in the morning, snuck into the ballpark, and there was the corn growing at shortstop, 2 inches tall. Old aches and pains, Luke Appling. On the 3rd. They'll get the force at 2nd. Let's see if somebody can get a run. Mike Leake will lead it off as we go to the bottom of 6th. From Joey.
Timing is everything.
The Coors Light Freeze Can brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light and our resident essayist, the Cowboy.
Time your jump. Now let's see if the Reds can time JoJo Reyes.
Leake has done it a couple of times, dropped a bunt down or tried to drop a bunt down. Might he do it here to get things rolling?
Well, both he and Travis Wood can handle the bat pretty well, and they've got those young legs that will carry him down that line in pretty good fashion. So now, right now, Mike Leake is not only checking out the third baseman, but Adam Lynn over there at first base.
You're bunting here. You got a whale of amount of room down the first base side.
if you can push bunt the ball that way. But the way that Reyes is throwing that cutter inside, he gives you a pretty good pitch to drag bunt.
Looped into center. Patterson there, and there's one away. Mike is 0 for 2, struck out first time up. Well, the Reds have gotten through a road trip where they were 5-2 and through a 10-game stretch where their pitching has been outstanding, and they're picking right up where they left off. And so are the Toronto Blue Jays. Reyes and Leake have been outstanding so far tonight, and we're scoreless if you're just joining us here in Cincinnati. George Grant and Jeff Brantley, great to have you with us. The first of round 2 of interleague play. High in the air to right center. Going back, looking up at the warning track, and it falls between them. He may make it all the way around, but coming into third, the Stubbs are going to send him. Here comes Drew around third. The relay is bobbled, and Stubbs will score an inside the park home run. On a night where there's no offense, this one gets either lost in the haze or just misplayed by 2 outfielders who don't call for it. The end result is Drew Stubbs and his speed-burning effort around the bases. Batista calling. Patterson comes in. It bounces Carams away, and here comes Stubbs.
Well, the problem there, George, is exactly what you said. Lack of communication. You can see the center fielder, Patterson, calling for the ball the entire time. And Batista gets in the wrong spot. And if there's a problem to be had there, it's with the right fielder. The center fielder has presence and command over everybody on the field of play when it comes to a fly ball.
Drew Stubbs, safe at home, safe and secure. New York life. Boy, speed is a wonderful thing, Cowboy. Did he turn on the Jets?
Got it.
Yeah, having watched all that, they still had a chance. If the relay was caught cleanly by Escobar, he had a good chance to get him, but the relay was bobbled by Escobar, and scoring is Stubbs.
Well, when Batista threw the ball in, it's short hop Escobar, and he really had no choice but to try to play it on a do-or-die hop, and no place for him to take loose of the ball. Stubbs runs hard every time, and that's what makes this an inside the Parker, other than the fact that these guys messed it up in the outfield. But Stubbs is hustling out of the box.
The official scoring crew, Ron Roth and Mike Cameron, have ruled it an inside the park home run, but they are reviewing it. A ball that should have been caught on a night where not much has happened offensively turns into a run for the Reds. 1-0 Cincinnati, and Brandon Phillips, 2 balls and 2 strikes. During the break, for those of you at home, Jeff Brantley just said, something's got to happen on a game like this, either a home run or something fluke. We got it both in one play. You hit the nail right on the head, Cowboy.
Well, it takes the right guy hitting the right ball in a game like this. I don't know of too many other folks in this Reds lineup that would have had an inside the park home run there, because that's a can of corn. That's a routine fly ball into the right center field gap. But Stubbs, as I said earlier, he's running all the way.
This one looped into right. Here comes Batista. He'll get it for the second out of the inning. Phillips retired. Hey, looking for a fun group outing with the Reds? Try the Mike Sells Picnic Tent. Enjoy a private ballpark buffet as you mingle before the game, and head to your field box seats down the first base line to catch the action. You'll also enjoy plenty of Mike Sells chips, the official potato chip for the Cincinnati Reds. Open to groups of 25 to 200. Call 513-765-7600 or visit reds.com/groups.
Well, this is the ultimate in scouting report here. Second baseman Aaron Hill. This is him way back here in the back, and it's going right to him.
It's the exact same shift that John Farrell used against the Red Sox and Big Papi, and it's worked so far twice against Votto. But one big swing by Drew Stubbs and his speed results in a 1-0 Reds lead. By Cincinnati Children's, which ranks 3rd in the nation on U.S. News and World Report's honor roll for Best Children's Hospitals 2011. By your Cincinnati Northern Kentucky Honda dealers. Visit mycincinnatihondadealer.com for current offers. And by Wendy's, you know when it's real. 1 run, 3 hits for the Reds, no runs, 2 hits for Toronto. Great night to be on the river, huh?
Oh, yeah. Great night to be in the ballpark.
You got the best of both worlds here. Did that hit him?
Did he bunt at it?
Let's see if Dusty Baker will come out and argue this.
Well, they check with C.B. Buckner immediately. Jay Mills does. And Buckner gives the safe sign. And, well, that's that. He does start to bunt. And he does pull the bat back. As long as you're not going forward with the bat, you get your base.
So the leadoff hitter on. Patterson has stolen 10 times, and we told you about John Farrell. He's got this team running more this year. They're 4th in the American League with 61 stolen bases.
Well, after seeing Jose Bautista run with 2 strikes on Adam Lynn and 2 outs, I would say probably run anybody. You just have to tighten your belt right here, George. This is a tough time in the lineup with Bautista and Lynn back to back. You've already hit the first batter of the inning.
Patterson dances off the bag. It looked like he had an inclination to go, but didn't get a good break. And it's 2-0.
Well, Patterson likes that very small lead, and then will take a walking lead to get his break to second.
2-0. Patterson going, swing and a miss. The throw will not be in time. It's a stolen base number 11 for Corey Patterson.
See, that's the part where if you're Joey Votto and you see the walking lead, whatever your sign is, you can't let a guy like Patterson have a walking lead off of a bag. And he could do the very same thing right here, George. Because third base is much easier to steal than second for most guys.
But Patterson in scoring position with no one out. Bautista, who reached on an infield hit and struck out. Ahead in the count, 2-1. They overshift towards the left side of the infield with Phillips behind the second base bag. And only is Batista a home run hitter, he's a run producer. You saw his numbers from last year. This year, similar story. He's already got 44 runs batted in on the season. Line to center field, going back, looking up. Stubbs, it'll be off the bottom of the wall. Patterson will score easily. The throw to second will not be in time, and a two-base hit from Jose Batista gives him his 45th run batted into the season, and just like that, we're tied again, 1-1 now.
Mike Leake is very fortunate that this ball is not elevated, and this shows you some tremendous extension off the bat of Batista. You see him coil those hips as he brings that foot up off the ground, and he just lets it fly. Some serious power right there. A line drive right into the bullpen fence in left center field.
Just a smooth, condensed swing with immense power. So still no one out, and now the go-ahead run is at second for Adam Lind. High in the air to center. Going back is Stubbs. He's looking up. He won't get it. That's going to be gone. 2 pitches, and this game is turned around dramatically. A 2-run home run from Adam Lind, his 15th of the season.
Well, up until that point, George, Leake had pitched 17 consecutive scoreless innings. And here with 2 guys that you just can't get behind, and you can't make a mistake to. We talked about it in the beginning of the ball game, and you get behind Batista and he hits a rocket off the bullpen fence, and a high changeup to Lynn, and he sends it into the batter's eye in dead center.
You saw on the replay where Hannigan set up. He wanted it down and in, and you saw Hannigan raise his glove as if to say, oh no, as soon as that ball left his hand, because it ended out over the middle of the plate, and Lynn wound up with a 416-foot homer to center field. 3-1 Toronto. Watch Hannigan.
Change up, and well, as a catcher, you just want to reach out there and grab it before it meets the bat.
Yep. Brandon has it. Rivera retired. Here's the catcher, Aaron Sebia.
First inside the park home run since 2001.
Yeah, Rob Butcher telling us that not only is this the first inside the park home run for the Reds since 2001, and we remember that one. That was Ken Griffey Jr.'s game winner. Came off Andy Bennis, an electric play that he scampered around the bases, but it is the first ever inside the park home run here at Great American Ballpark by a Red. First time a Reds player has gotten an inside the park homer here.
Amazing.
So after 5+ innings of no offense, we've gotten 4 runs in the last inning plus. Swing and a miss, and there's out number 2.
Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Visit the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden and make it a weekend getaway. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com.
Here's Aaron Hill. Bounce back to the pitcher and fly to right, 0 for 2.
It's amazing, George. You have a momentary lapse in control, and it costs you 3 runs just like that. If it's the bottom of the order, you get a couple of pop-ups. But it happens in the 2, 3, 4 spot. You hit a guy, you hang a couple of pitches, and it's 3-1.
2 balls and no strikes. funny, around the batting cage before the game, I was talking to Corey Patterson, and I said, did you give your teammates a scouting report on this ballpark? And he said, really? He said, I think Philadelphia is worse. It's the ball flies out of there more, but there's no margin for error here for a pitcher. And there's a great example of it right there. That's a strike.
Well, there's really no place to hide in this ballpark. But if you know it going in, then you know that your guys are going to have the same type of advantage that the opponents do. You just have to make your pitches. Don't let it defeat you mentally.
Looped into right center. That will drop in front of Stubbs. Third hit of the inning, a 2-out base hit. Hill is on, and that'll bring up Jason Nix.
And let's don't make the assumption that Leake is tired at this point, because I don't think that's the issue. I think you're just talking about a club that has seen him now for the third straight time in this ball game, and you get a little bit of familiarity when you have some pitches left up in the strike zone.
Well, the guy who got the double had 54 homers last year. He's no fluke. And you saw very clearly the mislocation on the home run by Lynn.
Well, Lynn coming into the ball game was 6 for his last 11 in a 3-game hitting streak, and he's been swinging about as hot a bat as you can swing it coming off the disabled list.
Hop back and out of play. Strike one to Jason Nix.
We've seen the Reds come back time and time again this year, and
21 comeback wins so far this year. And it was a magic stamp to last year's season too.
They see it again tonight.
This is down and in. 1-1.
I mean, George, whether you're a Reds fan or not, you have to admire the resurgence in this Reds ball club and their ability to just not give up. And they just keep coming at you and coming at you. 2-8 road trip through the toughest part of their schedule, at least for the first part of this season. To come back and play like they did out on the West Coast, and it's getting it done.
I think what appears to be a refrain for this season is, I mean, there's no dominant team in this division, and I think you're going to see that whether it's the Brewers, or the Reds, or the Cardinals, even the Pirates are playing better. I think you're going to see this all the way through till September. It's a question who's going to put together a stretch of a good couple of weeks that'll be the division winner.
And I think that's one of the reasons that the Reds have to continue to keep their head above water as they play these above 500 clubs.
Giannis will get the out at second, but the damage done. A hit batter, a stolen base, a double, and a homer. Adam Lynn's homer makes it 3-1 Toronto. The Yankees head to Wrigley to take on the Cubs in a rare meeting between two of baseball's oldest franchises. This week's telecast of Fox Saturday Baseball begins at 4 Eastern. Cubs winners over the Yankees today in Game 1 of that series. Here, Toronto 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors. The Reds a run, 3 hits, and no errors. Cincinnati run came on an inside the park homer on a misjudged mix-up fly ball to right center field off the bat of Drew Stubbs. The 3 runs by the Blue Jays came on Corey Patterson hit by pitch, a stolen base, a double by Batista that scored 1, and a 2-run homer by that guy Adam Lind. His 15th of the year. So it's 3-run Toronto, and the Reds, as we head to the bottom of the 7th, looking to play comeback baseball. Here's Jay, struck out and bounced out 0 for 2. Mike Leake had been near perfect through the first 6 until the 3-hit inning, and Jojo Reyes is matched in pitch for pitch.
Well, as we said, that's the first runs that Leake has given up in his last 17 innings of work. They're not going to be perfect. I think the Reds would take 7 innings and 3 runs every single ball game if they could get it.
And the only thing that counts in the end is who wins the ball game.
Right.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Reyes. A strikeout of Bruce for the 2nd time. That's 5 strikeouts for Reyes on the night. Hey, follow the Reds with MLB.com at bat 11 for your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Get live audio, pitch-by-pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Reds.com for details. You got all those, don't you? iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry.
I have all but the Android.
Well, it's Father's Day coming this weekend. Did you ask Ashley for that?
You never know.
She takes good care of you.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Yeah.
Jesse, we're behind the times here. I still got my little old rinky-dink phone. Cowboys got to give us a clinic.
You're still carrying around that bag phone.
That's it. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Rowland. Flied out, bounced out. Reds running out of outs. This bullpen for the Toronto Blue Jays down at the tail end of it. John Roush, Octavio Dotel, some familiar names. This drill to left, heading towards the corner, gonna be gone. Scott Rowland delivers against his former team, the Toronto Blue Jays, for Rowland his 3rd homer after a long drought. Cowboy, you've been watching him for a while, and it's been a while since he hit a homer.
Well, he breaks a drought of 157 plate appearances. Longest of his career, and he does it against his former team, the Blue Jays. I think this goes back to his last at bat, George. You have an 11-12 pitch at bat. He ended up grounding out to 3rd in the last one, but he saw so many pitches from Reyes. Familiarity breeds success.
You're right, 11 pitches the last time he faced him before he finally grounded out on the 3-2 pitch. Here he hops all over it for home run number 3. Here's another look at a bullet into the corner.
That was a cut fastball that Reyes threw there, and he left it over the heart of the plate.
That's a bullet into center. Johnny Gomes has his 2nd hit of the night. And the tying run is on with 1 out here in the 7th.
Johnny Gomes has hit the ball hard every single time up tonight. A hit his first at bat, a hit right here, and the ball that he probably hit the hardest was snagged by the 3rd baseman Nix on a 1-hop bullet.
Slightly elevated and then ripped by Gomes. So 1 out, 1 on, and a run in. And here comes Ryan Hanigan.
And if you're Dusty Baker, you want to push to put the pressure on JoJo Reyes before Farrell gets a chance to get somebody up fresh in that bullpen.
John Farrell's the manager. Bruce Walton is the pitching coach. I told you about Pat Henkin, who's the bullpen coach on this club. Wayne Murphy, the hitting instructor. And Don Wakamatsu, the bench coach for this Toronto ball club. Here's Hanigan, pop up and a fly ball out. In the dirt, but blocked by Aaron Sebia.
I think when you can put pressure on a starter this late in the game, there's some chances that he'll make some mistakes, because he has been flat out cruising, as Leake was.
1 ball from the stretch is Reyes. And that's a fastball in there for a strike. In the bullpen, the lefty Luis Perez loosening, and Octavio Dotel, the righty, formerly Reds fans will remember of the Houston Astros. He's bounced around over the years. Now 37 years of age. Hop back and out of play. 1-2.
Always had an awfully good arm, though.
Oh boy.
He always thrown the ball with some upper end velocity, just never able to really harness the art of pitching, for that matter. But he has hung around.
He first came up, he was a setup man for Billy Wagner. Then they let Wagner go, thinking he'd take over. Had a good save year, and then arm trouble set in. Wildness.
He has always been much better in the 7th and the 8th than in the 9th. And there are some guys that are just that way. And some that can't pitch in the 7th and the 8th, but they can pitch in the 9th. It goes both ways.
Here's the 1-2 to Hanigan. Loop into left. 1 step back, and he won't be able to get in as Rivera, and it'll be first and second. Rivera got a late break, and Hanigan's soft fly ball drops for a hit. So now the tying run is at second. The go-ahead runs down at first.
Well, it appeared, George, that Rivera took 2 steps back to his left as the ball came off the bat, and it was a jam shot. That cut fastball got right in on the hands of Hanigan, but the bat breaks in half, but it dies a hero.
He'll take it. Now out comes Walton. And there'll be a double switch as Johnny McDonald comes out. John Farrell now comes to the home plate umpire, Jerry Meals. We'll see who will emerge with Giannis due up. They're going to call on the right-hander Dotel. So that'll be it for Reyes. Gives us a chance to take time out for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. plus. Giorgio Reyes-Knight is done. He allowed the homer to Scott Rowland here in the 7th. He exits with a 1-run lead, but the 2 runners on base are his responsibility. He pitched well tonight. Johnny McDonald just off the disabled list. He was on the DL with a leg injury. He's back. And here comes Octavio Dotel, and no stranger to you, Cowboy.
11 walks in 17 and a third innings. He's pitched in 21 ball games and only 17 in the third inning. So that should tell you a little bit about Dotel's 2011.
Now 37 years of age.
A 5.19 earned run average, and that is caused by not throwing the ball over the plate.
Against the Reds in his career, he's 4-4 with an ERA of a little over 3. The big right-hander wheels one into the inside corner of the plate for a strike, 1 ball and 1 strike to Paul Janisch. Two on, 1 out. That's wide. And he's still got some giddy up, doesn't he?
He does. He's always been able to throw the ball hard.
Janisch tonight popped up, grounded out 0 for 2. And he aired to right, shallow right at that, so the runners will not be able to advance. Second out of the inning, and with Mike Leake due up, Dusty calls him back. On the bench for the Reds, left-hander Freddie Lewis, Renteria, Heisey, Cairo, and Hernandez, the right-handers.
Well, it's going to be Heisey. He's probably your best fastball hitter off the bench, and he's definitely your best pinch hitter in these kind of situations.
So here comes Chris as a pinch hitter this year, and he's been the Reds' best pinch hitter the last 2 years. He's 8 for 20 at an even .400. Just trying to get a base hit here to plate the tying run in a 3-2 ball game. So Leake's night is done. Right now he trails 3-2. If Heisey can deliver, he can take him off the hook and even possibly give him a lead. That's a strike on the outside corner.
And the Reds lead the big leagues. 28 pinch hits and 17 pinch hit RBIs.
They have been solid since the first week of the season. They're the numbers that are so impressive. They've been by far and away the best pinch hitting team in the National League.
And a lot of that has come from this guy, Fred Lewis, and Miguel Cairo. And I think when you have Heisey getting some regular playing time, same thing with Lewis, Cairo playing a lot when Rowland was on the DL, you get guys that are familiar with the plate and not just coming off the bench having not seen a pitch at all. Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. JTM. Looking for the fastball in.
Ball and a strike. Gomes trying to get every inch of his lead off second. That's a big swing and a miss.
Well, that was in, but it was a breaking ball at 81 miles an hour.
Bottom dropped out of that one.
I think just the speed there, the variance from 90 to 81 had Heisey a little bit out in front. Got him out on that front foot.
1-2. That's a little lower, 2-2. Dotel, native of the Dominican Republic, came up through the Mets organization, made his debut as a Met, and spent the bulk of his career with Houston. Went on to Oakland, The Yankees, Kansas City, Atlanta, the White Sox, the Pirates, the Dodgers, and now here in Toronto. And he'll go 3-2 with 2 outs. So the runners will be off and scampering. 3-2, 2 away.
Well, a base hit right here gives a chance for, even though it's the catcher at first base, Hannigan, you put the ball in either gap and the Reds are going to be out in front.
3-2, 2 away to the stretched Hotel. Nub down to third, and McDonald will tap the bag for the final out. Combs tried to avoid the tag. They'll take the force. Scott Rowland delivers with a homer. It's a 1-run ball game. 3-2 as we go to the 8th. Cold, hard blast. On a night when there hasn't been much offense, Scott Rowland drilled this one down the left field line, sneaks it inside the fair pole for his 3rd homer, and pulled the Reds to within 1, 3-2. Our Coors Light cold, hard blast. But for the Reds, Chris Heisey stays in the game. He's in left, inserted in the 9th spot in the order. Andrusik will be the new pitcher. The big right-hander will take over on the mound after Mike Leake goes 7 strong innings. He allows 5 hits and 3 runs. So your report card on Mike Leake tonight, Cowboy?
Thought he threw the ball very well. And he's got another quality start. That's now 9 of 11. Really only had 2 ball games that weren't up to par, I guess, with the rest of his season. You give me 7 innings every night with 3 runs, I'll take it.
Reds have been averaging about 5 runs a ball game in the last 10 days. If they had that 5 runs, they'd have a lead right here. That's a grounder under the glove of Rowland down the left field line. McDonald rounds first. He'll go to second. And Johnny Mack is sitting at second base with a leadoff 2-base hit off Logan Andrusik.
Well, you talk about a guy that has been struggling at the plate. This is him. Hits the ball right off the end of the bat on a breaking ball down, but it catches plenty of the strike zone and just hooks it right down the line.
See a bit of a change in John McDonald this year. He's always been a slap hitter. That's his 4th double of the season. But what Dwayne Murphy's tried to get him to do, I mean, he's brilliant defensively. Put him at second, third, or short. He's as good as anybody in the league defensively. But they've tried to get him to be a little more aggressive, especially in late inning situations. And you saw him try to pull that pitch. You saw where Rowland was playing him too, a step towards the hole, which is usually where he would hit the ball.
Well, if that pitch had been on the outside corner instead of in the middle of the plate, even though it was a good pitch, the ball was down. That ball is right to the third baseman. But because it was in the middle of the plate and he was being aggressive, he caught it out in front and he gets it down the third baseline.
Do you bunt with Escobar with a runner at second?
No chance. These guys have not been bunting. And if you're a club that's used to swinging the bat, you swing it. If it's Patterson standing there, I think I would do it, but not with this guy.
0 for 3 is Escobar today. 8 homers, 26 knocked in. The hit by the Blue Jays, they're 6 of the night, so the hits are even at 6 as the Jays lead at 3-2. Average speed, McDonald off second. A good base runner, not a base stealer. They got a shot. They'll take the out at first. They had a shot at the runner at third, but took the sure out. So there's a runner at third with 1 away. So Escobar gets the job done by moving the runner to third.
Well, McDonald makes that play, George, and you mentioned it right before the ball went into play. He is a good base runner. He's a smart base runner. He's a smart player. And as soon as that ball goes into the ground, the high hop, he takes off. And for Giannis to make that play, not only would he have had to spin to his opposite side to throw the ball, it would have been awfully awkward from that angle to throw the ball to third base.
Don't forget about a squeeze here. Patterson, an outstanding bunter. At the very least, possibly a safety squeeze with a smart runner at third and a good bunter at the plate in a 1-run ball game.
Yeah, you just bunt the ball hard at third base. You let Rowland come get it and let McDonald follow him down the line.
Phillips, they've got the runner at the plate, and he's a dead duck. Oh, with the infield in at the edge of the grass. McDonald saw the ball go over the mound, and Phillips was playing midway between second and first, but watch how quickly he gets behind the mound. Wow. Picks the pocket of John McDonald, and they erase the runner at third.
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's Brandon Phillips.
It's Super Phillips. And normally, a ball bounces over the head of the pitcher with a runner on third. He's going to score.
Yeah, it's a base hit.
Yep. Not with number 4 there. So let's see if the Reds can parlay this now to get out of this inning. So there's now 2 away. Patterson already stole the bases down at first. Is he off and running again?
Well, if you're on Drusick, it's not about picking the first base because you're not going to pick Patterson off. But if you hold the baseball, you'll make him come to a stop. And to hold a base runner like Patterson, if you can make him come to a stop in his motion towards second base, he won't steal the bag.
Batista struck out, reached on an infield hit, and doubled in a run. 2 for 3. There's an ongoing debate among pitching coaches about the value of the slide step for relievers, especially big relievers. The one thing that Andrusic has shown you, Cowboys, that he's available and able to use the slide step, and in most cases not have it affect his delivery. Oh, in the dirt. That'll kick to the backstop, and the runner will go to second.
And that is not a result of the slide step. It's more a result of the man that's standing at home plate and the fact that he hit 54 home runs last year. You try to make the best possible pitch that you can, especially here with 2 outs.
3 balls, 1 strike to Batista. Popped up right side. Votto going back, edge of the grass. He'll squeeze it. So a leadoff double by McDonald. Somehow the Reds dodged the bullet. They need a run going to the bottom of the 8th. Stubbs due up. time for the Home Depot doing more on defense play of the game. Brandon Phillips came up with a brilliant play earlier for an out. This one, not just an out, it saves a run. He covered a lot of ground and pinned a perfect throw on John McDonald and nailed him at the plate. Brandon earlier came up with another one of his tailor-made highlight reel, put it in the vault plays, and then he added to that list with that play. Well, here's Drew Stubbs inside the park homer, the first ever inside the park homer by a Red here at Great American Ballpark, came in the 6th. He's 1 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. That's a strike. Great to have you with us here at Great American Ballpark. George Grant and the Cowboy Jeff Brantley. Don't forget, coming up post game, Jeff Pecoro, Jim Day will be by to fill you in on every bit and piece of this night of baseball. That's a ball, strike 3, and Stubbs is retired for the first out of the 8th inning. Up here in the booth, Jesse Jackson, Joel Luckoff with us. Great to have our crew here at Great American Ballpark on this Interleague Series. Down in the truck, Brian Hunterman producing tonight. Uncle Roy Alfers in the director's chair. Kevin Penowit dialing up some tape highlights for you. Lauren White, our graphics coordinator, and Matt Sigafus doing the honors as the pregame producer. Great to have you with us here at Great American Ballpark. Reds trying to come up with their 22nd come from behind victory of the year. They trail it 3-2 here in the 8th.
Well, if you come to the plate right now and you look for anything but a fastball from Octavio Dotel, you're doing yourself some major damage. Well, this guy has been throwing 90% fastball since he broke into the big league. Now, he didn't throw him for strikes a whole lot, but that's what you're going to get.
And, you know, he kind of delivers the way you did, Cowboy. At times it looks like he's throwing uphill, which you had the unique ability to do. He'll dip down and then fire out, and a fastball that looks like it's about belt high ends up being chest high. Hey, after every Reds game, stay with Fox Sports Ohio for Reds Live. Here from Dusty first. Before anybody else, you can get all the highlights and what's happening around the world of baseball. That's Reds Live postgame, brought to you by Kings Honda and the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com. Well, they get the 2 right-handers, and with Joey Votto coming up, they've had left-handed action in the bullpen, so we'll take time out for these messages. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. On the game and the Reds in general to 37664, and then tune in tonight to Reds Live after the game, and your message could be seen on the screen. Let your voice be heard here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Mark Zepchinski. And it starts with an R. There you go. R-Z-E-P-C-Z-Y-N-S-K-I. Yeah, you tell.
Where's Vanna White when you need her?
2-1 on the year. He leads the club now with 31. This will be his 32nd appearance. Left-handers hitting a mere 157 against this young man.
Well, this left-hander batter hits 368 against left-handed pitching, and Joey Votto digs in. Votto 0 for 3 tonight.
Only 2 extra base hits has Zepchinski given up this year to left-handed batter.
There's a dribbler to the right side, and that will take care of Joey. So Votto 0 for 4. Zepchinski does what he's expected to do, gets Votto. The Reds down to 3 outs. They trail by 1. Been another night of highlights for this guy, but Brandon Phillips came up with one of his best. Behind the second base bag, he throws out Aaron Sebia by a full step in a remarkable play. You've seen a lot of them this year, Cowboy. That's one of the best.
That shows you all of the tools of Brandon Phillips, and it shows you an extra bit of instinctive ability from that young man that you can't teach. And that's the part of awareness and knowing exactly where you are on the field of play, making a throw with your back to first base while you're sprinting towards left field. Go figure.
There's Nick Massett. He'll take over as we go to the top of the ninth to face the left-handed hitting Adam Lind. Lind homered back in the 7th with Batista aboard. That's the difference in the ball game right now. A 2-run shot to make it 3-1. League 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. Andrusik pitched the 8th, and here's Massett in the 9th. Right center will take charge. Stubb does, and then 1 away. Drew Stubbs hauls it in, 1 out, and that'll bring up Rivera, the left fielder.
You can see that communication going on with Stubbs and Bruce in right field. And even though Bruce was calling for the ball, at the last second he peels off behind Stubbs. Well, that same exact play cost this Blue Jay club a run.
But we went through a few years where the Reds had a revolving door in the outfield. This one sliced down the right field line into the corner. It's a foul ball. Where there was a different center fielder, a different left fielder almost every night, and due to injury, sometimes a different right fielder. And
we saw
it takes its toll.
Kind of things happen.
Yeah,
it does take its toll when you're not used to playing with the same personnel in the outfield, and you're running full bore. It's human nature.
More often than not, Patterson has played left, and Rajai Davis has been the center fielder on this time. Davis is struggling offensively, so he sits tonight. Patterson moved to center, and Patterson and Bautista never got together on a fly ball that should have been caught. Rivera waves at that. 0-2. Juan 0 for 3, 3 ground balls.
Watch this curveball. Straight down. You stay on top of the baseball and drive it with your elbow and your tricep. Pull that thing straight down towards your belt buckle.
Setting up, down and away. Hannigan, same spot. Got him.
And that ball had an extra 3 miles of velocity. You throw the first one for a strike and you leave that one about a foot outside, but you started on the corner and he can't hold up. First one a strike, second one a ball.
Nasty stuff. 2 away. Here's the catcher, Aaron Sebia. 2 ground outs and a strikeout. We talked about, you alluded to the difference in this road trip, especially the starting pitching. And what that's done is take a bullpen that was really limping because starting pitchers were only going 4 innings, and the bullpen had to sometimes cover 5 or 6 innings. It's now given the bullpen a chance to take a big deep breath and come back.
Well, the thing about monitoring or managing a bullpen, you want you guys to be able to throw. You want to be able to work them. The 5th and 6th and sometimes even the fourth guy down there are the ones that suffer because they're not going to get the majority of the work as your closer and your setup men do when your starters are going well. But then when the starters don't go well, you're absolutely killing the guy that's your 6th man because you're putting him in the ball game when you're behind every time.
Wow. What a tough hop, but Rolen, the 8-time Gold Glover, made it look easy. 1, 2, 3, last round up for the Reds. Jay Bruce to lead it off. Rolen and Gomes to follow. Scott Rolen drove this one down the left field line for his 3rd homer of the year. Our Nissan drive of the game. Pull the Reds to within 1, 3-2. That's where we are right now. Rolen due up second in the inning as we go to the 9th. It'll be Bruce 0 for 3. Rolen 1 for 3, a homer, and then Gomes 2 for 3. Corey Patterson slides over from center to left. And out in center field, Rajai Davis will take over. So a lot of speed in this outfield. Davis, like Drew Stubbs, can cover a lot of ground. Now the closing situation has been a revolving door due to injury and ineffectiveness this season for John Farrell. Frank Francisco has worked his way back to the closer's role, and he'll take over, Cowboy.
Came up with the Texas Rangers as a former teammate of Cordero. He was actually the setup man for Cordero at one time. Francisco, left-handed batters, 327. Right-handers, 185. He's allowed an earned run in 4 of his last 10 ball games. Reds would love to make it 5 right here.
His role as a closer has been tenuous at best.
And a lot of it, George, it goes back to the same thing we were talking about with Dotel. It's a matter of throwing the ball over the plate and throwing strikes. At the end of the ball game, you can't be fooling around the zone.
He had his 4th save of the year a month ago this week. He had his 5th save just this week. John Farrell has kind of worked him back slowly for the last week or so, putting him in the middle of ball games, and now he puts him back into the closer's role here in the 9th and 1-run ball game. Breaking ball, locked up Jay Bruce, and it's 1-2. Bruce tonight struck out, grounded out, and struck out in his 3 plate appearances. You know about his month of May, the player of the month. Comes in with 17 home runs here in the 9th inning. Setting up away Aaron Sebia. Got him. Fastball. That's some nasty heat on the outside corner.
Fastball away, and every veteran hitter will tell you, George, the hardest thing to do in this situation when you know you have the ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark is not try to do it. And you could see Jay there. The hips were open. The ball was away. He was trying to pull that ball, and at 95 miles an hour running away from you, you're usually going to come up empty.
Here's Roland. Homered last time up. That misses up high for ball 1.
You're almost better in this situation just thinking about hitting the ball back up the middle and stringing some hits together. And that's usually when the home runs come.
Think away. Bombs on deck with Fred Lewis moving into the on deck circle now, replacing him. Lewis, the left-handed bat that the Reds have on the bench. That breaking ball drops in there for a strike. Freddie, the lone left-handed swinger that Dusty has. Ball, 1 strike to the stretch Francisco. Another breaking ball drops in there.
I think this is what John Farrell would like to see from Francisco the majority of the time. Every pitch you got, you throw it for a strike.
This is the role that the Blue Jays envisioned Francisco being in when they acquired him from Texas. And that flurry of activity when Mike Napoli went to Toronto, and then Texas needed a catcher, so they traded for Napoli, sending Francisco to Toronto. And ball, 2 strikes. In the dirt, 2-2. Came up through the Texas organization, and with the Rangers, he saved as many as 25 in a season. That was 2 years ago for the Rangers. And you said it, Cowboy. Some guys have all the stuff in the world to be a closer, but it's finding a way to be comfortable in that role in the 9th inning. 2-2.
If you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe it?
Here's our Fox Tracks look. Does it hit the corner?
And Roland is asking home plate umpire Jerry Mills if that's been a strike all day. Because obviously, in the look of Rolen, you see his face there. He's thinking that ball is down big time.
So Rolen called out on strikes, the second straight strikeout for Francisco. So Dotel comes in the 8th and strikes out Stubbs and Phillips. Here in the 9th, 2 strikeouts of Bruce and Rolen, and the Reds' hopes lie in the hands of Freddie Lewis. Lewis facing Francisco with 2 outs in the 9th. That's a strike.
You're throwing the ball 95 miles an hour, George, and you're getting a generous strike zone. It's tough to put the ball in play, period.
Which is what Jerry Meals is known for. Look out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dusty had a decision to make back in the 7th when he pinch hit the right-handed hitting Heisey against the right-hander Dotel, knowing that he had only 1 left-handed bat, and that was Lewis. He saved him for the 9th. Before the game today, a parade of Blue Jays came over to shake hands with Freddie, who was a Blue Jay. Well respected and well liked. Dusty had him in San Francisco when he first came up, and Freddie's had a stop in Toronto as well. Three and 1. Reds need a run, would like to have a base runner. Hannigan due up next. Run 6 hits for Toronto, 2 runs, 6 hits for the Reds. Leake and Reyes each pitch well. The Reds trying to come back here in the 9th. On the corner for a strike, and we're 4-3-2. To join the Reds scored on a Drew Stubbs inside the park homer and on a rolling home run. John Farrell's club got all their runs in the 7th. A hit batter, a stolen base, a double by Batista, and a 2-run homer from Adam Lind. Lined into center, a base hit. Lewis is on. So the Reds have a life.
Pretty good piece of hitting right there, George.
Outstanding.
You work the count full. You know you're going to get a fastball here, and it's right down Broadway. And Lewis doesn't try to do too much with it. Just drives the ball right back up the box and finds some green grass.
So Lewis is on. He represents the tying run. And here comes the catcher, Ryan Hannigan. Hannigan popped up, flied out, and singled in the 7th inning. Now would you send Lewis in this situation, putting the tying run at second? Short lead for Lewis. Not going. That's a fastball down the middle.
Not sure that you can send him right now if Francisco is going to throw the fastball with that slide step that he's using.
Fastball away. This one looped into right. Coming in, looking up, Batista. He'll squeeze it. And the Blue Jays have taken game 1 of this 3-game series in Cincinnati. So Toronto came in struggling in 15 years of interleague play. They have the worst road record in interleague play. It's a big swing from Adam Lind, a 2-run homer. Gets fine pitching from Jojo Reyes and beats the Reds by a final of 3-2, 3-6-0 to 2-7-0. Cowboy, well pitched from the 2 starters. One swing of the bat, the difference.
Well, it just ended up being a situation there in the 7th where you hit Corey Patterson when he was trying to put a bunt down, and unfortunately Patterson is hitting right in front of Batista and Lind, and they both tagged the ball awfully well. And you get one run on a home run by Stubbs, and Toronto did what they're supposed to do. They answered the call.
3-6-0 for Toronto, 2-7-0 for the Reds. The winner will be Reyes, who's 3-5. The loser is Leake, who's 5-3. Let's go down to Jeff Pecora.
Well, thank you very much, George. You know, this Reds team red hot on this West Coast trip that they just came home from. Usually don't do too well on the West Coast, but they win 5 of those 7 games. Then they come home where they've been very good. But there's something about this Toronto team. The Reds, in the 10 games they played them, are now 3-7. So we're getting ready to head inside. Talk a little bit more about this game with Dusty and the crew. But boy, Jim Day, a great pitching matchup. Mike Leake pitched well. It was just 1 inning, a hit batter, and that big home run that was the difference in this one. And I know we're going to talk more about that with Reds Live. Jim, up to you.
Yeah, a lot to talk about